first. Hello, boys and girls. We are going to be doing our first challenge for our mission to Mars. So the first one is we are going to prepare to launch. So that means we're going to get our rocket ship ready and get ready to go. So the first thing you want to do is you want to come over here and get a background. So you can choose any background that you would like. There's lots of fun backgrounds. You probably don't want to choose an in space one yet because you're going to be going to space later. So I'm just going to choose like a forest background. And then after that, I'm going to get my rocket ship. So if I search for the word rocket ship, then I can get a rocket ship. And I also want kind of like an astronaut or someone that's going to go to space. Let's see, like maybe I can search under people. So you can search here and might find, oh, here's this one. This is the one I was thinking of. Now you can get your astronaut. Now, so I have my spaceship and I have my astronaut. So now I'm going to, before I start coding anything else, I want to think, what are some things that if I were going to space, I would have to have? So the first thing I thought of is you would probably need food. So I'm going to get a couple of food items. And so I'm just going to look down here. Okay, so I've got some food items. The next thing I was thinking of, maybe you might want to have some water. So if I scroll through here, you might find like a glass of water. There we go. Okay, and now what else I'm thinking? You might, maybe if you were going to go live on Mars, maybe you might want a pet, or maybe you might want some other things. So you can kind of just look and decide, what would you want if you were going? So I'm going to say that they are going to take their computer because they need that on space. Now I've got about 5 things here that they could take to space. So this is the first thing. Now the first thing you want to do, I want to make my rocket ship a little bit bigger. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to change this to be about size, I'm going to put about 200. So anything over 100 makes it bigger. So that's a pretty decent size. Let's make it just a little bit smaller, 150. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of shrink because all these things are going to end up coming into the rocket ship. So I'm going to shrink all of those to be a little bit smaller so it fits inside the rocket ship. So each of them, and you might have to play around with the size for the size that you want on yours. Anything less than 100 is smaller. Anything bigger than 100 is bigger. So I'm making all of mine about 50% of the original size. So now that I'm here, the next thing that I want to do is I want to come over here and I want to give them a starting position. So I'm going to come to my flag. I'm going to go to my event and give it a flag. And then I'm going to tell it I want it to go to this XY position. That's where it is on the grid. So I want to do that with all of them. That's kind of a good habit to get into, is to tell it to go to that XY position. The only other time that you may not want to do that is if you want it to randomly show up somewhere. So on these ones, I'm going to go to my events. Instead of saying I always want it to show up here to kind of make it a little bit more fun, then I'm going to tell it to go to a random position. So I'm going to do that on every single one of them. I'm going to tell it to go to a random position. So this is the first part, is just kind of getting it all set up, ready to go. So that, and then you can just double check, did you add a flag on each of them? Do they all have go to a certain position or a random position? So this is just your setup to start this project. Watch the next video to see how to code it.